One thing I've been playing with a lot recently is how to increase engagement in our community. So it ties to running the academy and how we actually run conversations in there. What communities do you have any communities you're a regular contributor to just now, Jacob?
No, not really. It swings with my interest. I'm not particularly loyal to any community. Do you know what I mean?
Have you in the past?
Yeah, I have been for stretches. Various well, actually, that's not true. There's like a few kind of Discord groups that I'm part of for different types of news. Not high quality doom scrolling.
Yes. Okay. Slightly more personal doom scrolling. Yeah. So Discord, good one. Yeah. Do you use Reddit much these days?
I do use Reddit. Yeah.
And obviously we've got Circle as our community platform for IndiePod as well. So, I mean, one of the core parts of any community is just how members talk to each other. I think this is the thing I've been struggling with, is how to make that really simple, because my experience is something like Discord or Slack is actually one of the best ways to do it theoretically, because it's where people already exist. So you're already on Discord, Jacob, you've already got an account there. You can just add it and it's a new channel to somewhere where you already check in your daily life. I'm like that with Slack. So like there's communities in Slack that I've joined that I actually contribute to fairly often because I'm in Slack every day for my work anyway, and I'm used to using it. I like the platform and it just works. So there's this kind of, there's a tension, there's a problem between going with those platforms and being stuck with their formats versus having something custom, something different, something new that's maybe more tailored to what you do, but actually you need to convince people then to live somewhere else on a regular basis. So we started with Facebook for our IndiePod community, for example. Like it was all in there. Do you remember it there? Because that was a long time back.
I do remember it there. Yeah. Facebook wasn't. I can't remember what happened, but Facebook became a problem. People stopped using Facebook. It was probably, I don't know, when was it? What was happening in the world? Why did people lose trust in Facebook at that particular time?
I mean, it was when like Zuckerberg was in court all the time, and he was like accused of, he was accused. I mean, there was a bunch of stuff over a few years, but yeah, just trust had gradually eroded, and I think a lot of people had just got bored with how it hadn't changed much as well. Like it just seemed a bit old-fashioned almost, while all these brand new platforms were coming up and exciting people. But fact is, Facebook's still like the most popular social platform out there. I saw some stats, like it still is the most used social platform on the planet, I believe. But anyway, we were fed up with the kind of the limitations of it. There's not much organization in a Facebook group. You can't include much in the way of information. It's literally just post after post after post. And so that was exactly what I'm talking about. Slack is the same. Slack is very expensive if you pay for it. And if you keep it free for a community purpose, it's very limited. You can only have certain types of groups. You can only have certain kind of interaction. You can't store any of the old information, which is a big limitation for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything falls off the map like 90 days in, I think it is. Is that what it is? Anyway,
it's something like that, and that's a deal breaker for me, because part of the value of these communities is the sort of knowledge and lore that you build up over time. What's the point in trying to run it for a long time if you're not able to store it?
Totally. Yeah. So we moved IndiePod to Circle, and Circle is, I think, probably about the pinnacle that I've found right now for running a community as a whole. So it includes courses, it includes spaces, it includes spaces for different purposes like posts and card type layouts. And you can lay out chats really easily, but also you can create like a space that has just information. So the courses obviously exist, but also you can just have videos and a list and all this kind of stuff. It's just really flexible and really nice. But even it has limitations, like the courses and stuff like that are a bit limited in how they can deliver. So I don't know. I started looking around loads of different platforms. I played with Mighty Networks for a while. Mighty Networks was okay. The chat in it was rubbish. Yeah. Teachable and Podia, I think, are the best for an overall educational community approach. But the community side of them, the person chat, the people chat. That's not the way to say it. The way you make your community actually talk to each other is rubbish. Like Teachable does have a chat functionality in there. It looks exactly like Circle, except like way less features and quite clunky. They're obviously just copying that. That's fair enough. Like Circle have done it in a really good way. Podia are almost the same as well. Bear in mind, caveat there, I haven't looked at it. It was about 4 or 5 months ago I looked at both of them. So don't shout at me too much in the comments if both of them have improved dramatically since then. But they were just very basic. So we came back to Circle. But yeah, I don't know. The one thing I'm struggling with just now, those are the platforms that I've played around with. But you've also got live video events as well. Like Circle can handle live video, but equally, a lot of other places handle them, like Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live. You've got Slack and Discord can do that too. Remember the old school webinar platforms as well? Like, did you play around with any of the webinar jams, that kind of thing?
Go to webinar and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
Yeah, that was the beast in the space. But they seem to have kind of died away a lot as well, because essentially you can just do that just as nicely with Zoom and Google Meet these days.
YouTube, Facebook.
Yeah,
anywhere.
Exactly. Totally. Yeah. And then you had Blab. Do you remember Blab as well?
Oh, no, I've never heard of that one.
Blab was this kind of group chat thing where you just sit. It was really fashionable for just running a massive chat room off the cuff. Like you just say, I'm starting up a Blab on Twitter, and people would join in the link. And you would get like 100 people all join in. And it had this really nice layout for all the photos along the top and stuff. And a lot of which has been copied now. But yeah, it was kind of leader in that space. So yeah, those are the other elements, but Circle do that quite nicely now too. But then I do like the discoverability of broadcasting that to YouTube Live as well, or LinkedIn Live. So that's a struggle too. And the final part of the piece is I kind of started to think the more modern way of community chat was instant messaging, and then realized that was basically the first potential way that people would chat as well, like old
IRC and stuff,
IRC servers, stuff like that. Yeah. Although I'm sure forums came probably before that, like old school forums as well.
Probably.
Yeah. So I do like Slack and Discord and Teams for that. But there is the problem, of course, that suddenly as soon as you have instant messaging, there is a feeling that you should be responding, and instant messaging can feel more empty and more undermanned than async messaging, I think, as well. I don't know. Is that fair?
It is fair. There's a couple of things that are a problem with instant messaging in the community, because we tried it actually. We popped an experimental instant messaging room into our IndiePod community, and the problem with it is people arrive at all sorts of different times of day, right? They might not all have notifications on, and if someone goes in there and puts a question or says something and someone doesn't get back to them for or just no one replies in there for even like a day or half a day or whatever, like they're not going to come back. There needs to be engagement. But if it's async, it can just sit there in the timeline. Someone will engage with it, and then that's it. It's fine. But in a chat, it's different. It shouldn't be different, but it is. I think it's an organization thing as well, because someone can post if a question isn't answered in the chat and someone wants to put a message in, they might not put a message in if they feel that they're not responding to the previous one. Do you know what I mean? They don't want to answer that guy. They're not interested in what they were saying. They want to say their thing, but they're not going to say it because it would be rude to the last person. Yeah. So then nobody talks.
It's like changing the subject. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And that's where Slack and Discord do well. Slack particularly because it's got its threads, so you can reply to a particular comment. So that's why I think Slack's best for that, but it just falls down in so many other ways. Yeah. So end result, I'm back to Circle. We can't get away from it because I think Circle have just built this product, which is actually really good at a range of things. It's not the best at any particular thing. I don't know about that actually. So it's not the best at instant messaging for sure. Slack, Discord beat that by far. It's not the best at courses. I think Teachable is probably the best out there right now for delivering courses and the variety of ways you can run memberships and courses. But its courses are good. Its instant messaging is good. It's not the best at live video events either. no doubt. Like proper webinar platforms, like, or even just Google Meet, like running a proper webinar actually is probably better, really, in most senses, more flexibility, more power. But the live videos are still good. The real thing that it comes down to is that it can just organize all of this together in a way that everyone can navigate it quite nicely. And it has this forum-based chat that just works like a dream. That's the thing it's best for, really, is the forum-based chat and being able to organize the rest of it around that in a way that's quite nicely navigable, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I have a bit of a love affair with Circle, to be honest, because I think I think they're the Alitu of the community world. I think the sum of the parts and having everything in there in a way that works and it's simple and it's quite opinionated.
Yeah.
It just works. It's much greater than the sum of all the parts. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
And it has kept things similar to our ethos with Alitu. It has kept things really simple, really, actually.
Yeah.
It's only slowly added brand new things. Like when it added courses, it kept it really simple, but still functional and good. Which is, I think, one thing to learn from in there is with Teachable. Like Teachable added a community that was very like Circle, but was just so much worse, even though theoretically it was quite similar. It was almost it was almost like a negative. It almost showed what you could have. It was painful to use. And it just created quite a negative experience and put me off a little bit. So yeah, I don't know. It's funny. But yeah, great platform for all that stuff. Yeah. And I'm sure they'll improve their instant messaging over time. They'll improve all the elements over time. But yeah. I think we're going to
remember the founding team was from Teachable as well. So they've got good kind of like educational pedigree, I think.
Yeah.
And it probably it may not be a focus, but for sure, I think they will end up with one of the most competitive education parts. It'd be silly for them not to end up there.
Aye, the courses are already good, actually. They've been improving over time. So yeah, definitely. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, that's my rundown of community communications, I suppose, doing a bunch of research over the last 6 months or so around it. So yeah, hope that was helpful.